Are you getting super worn down by all the drama in the world and you just really wish your spirit guides and your angels would help you catch a break, get away from all this and move into a more peaceful existence? Well, that can happen and starts by just wanting or thinking that there could be some divine support and intervention. My name's Sonia Choquette. Welcome to my channel. I believe your spirit guides brought you here if this is your first visit, so we're happy you're here. And if you're coming back and have been with me for a while, today we're going to talk about how to transcend the chaos of this world with the help of your spirit guides, angels, and divine teachers. If this is something that you have struggled with, these practical tools will make it a whole lot easier for you. The first thing you want to recognize is that these are learning times. These are times where we have to examine the way we see things and the assumptions we make, and especially the assumption that we're powerless. If we can open our minds and say, well, it feels like I'm powerless, but I actually want to learn how to feel and be empowered, a whole lot will happen in terms of bringing you toward peace. So one of the questions that you can ask yourself is, what am I learning right now? Not just what I'm being introduced to in terms of new information, like that we're multidimensional beings, or that we have spirit guides, or that we have intuitive abilities. That's information. But am I learning to put that information into my life, into practice? What am I learning in terms of listening to my intuitive self? Am I learning to do that? Am I receptive? Am I open? Am I listening to my inner guidance, or am I still fighting it? One of the things we have to recognize as a multidimensional being is that we have power of choice, but we don't have freedom from the consequence of our choice. So if you get a lot of inner guidance, but you choose to ignore it, because it's suggesting that you make changes you don't want to do, okay, just remember, life isn't working against you. You chose to stay connected to something that isn't working for you. This is probably the biggest challenge we're having right now, is that we're being invited to learn to let go of what doesn't work for us and reach out for what does and believe it exists. That's another big obstacle, is to believe that if I let go of something, it's not just a loss. I have a client who's in a relationship with a man that, she said, he's lovely. He's nice to me. He loves me. He cares about me. But I don't love him. I'm just here because I don't want to be alone. Like, well, okay, that's a choice, which is fine. But don't feel victimized by your choice. Don't say, I'm in a loveless relationship, I'm so lost, I'm so this and that. You're very willful about the life you're choosing. You don't, and as she said, I just don't want to start over. Okay, not a good choice, but a choice. And one of the things that your spirit guides will always respect is those choices, but they won't support you lying to yourself. They'll again and again just remind you, are you sure you want to make that choice? Because in the big picture, maybe you'll lose time and you'll realize your unhappiness doesn't have to exist. Maybe short-term discomfort will bring you long-term happiness, which brings me to another point. Navigating these times is going to be easier if you truly are not going to go to great lengths to avoid discomfort. If you can just say, well, I'll be uncomfortable for a while, but I'm guided. Your guides are giving you insights. Your higher self, your most important guide, your angels and support are encouraging you to listen to that guidance and trust these new impulses, like, maybe end the relationship that isn't working, quit the job that you feel completely bored by. More importantly, start the thing you want to do. Start the thing that you've been avoiding but want to do. I have a client who wants, for example, to start a corporate workshop in how to belong. But I said, you don't feel like you belong anywhere, so start smaller. Start a book club. Start a small group that's all about belonging. I laughingly said, I think if you put it up online, you're going to have everybody show up because everybody feels like I don't belong right now. Or at least everybody who's waking up to a higher dimension, because we don't belong in the third dimension anymore. We can't find a comfortable place in a world that says you're just physical and at the mercy of more overwhelming and powerful things, and you're really in danger and you better be scared. We don't belong there. So that's another thing. Your guides are going to help you find the frequency where you belong, the frequency that will be populated by people of kindred consciousness where you belong. But being agitated, worked up, threatened, menacing, you don't belong there. Then let it go and be okay with the unknown for a little while. That is part of how to navigate these end times, is to step into the unknown. Now, your ego says, well, that's dangerous, but where you are is dangerous. The unknown is possibility, and you always have the ability to make choices. So if you're in the unknown, doesn't mean you're out of control. It means that you are in an unscripted period of time where you get to make new choices. If your spirit is suggesting, for example, take an art class, don't say, no, that's not practical. There isn't one. It's not convenient. Don't have the money. Why bother? I'm not an artist, which is the ego response. And instead say, what a good idea. I'll look into it. I'll see if I can find one. Not because I'm going to become a potter, but maybe because while I'm in that meditative mode working with the clay, you'll make a real connection with the spirit world, your spirit and your guides and your angels and your higher self, because your mind will be engaged in something that calms it down and grounds it. We just have to see that things have a more elegant and orchestrated way of unfolding when we work with our guides. It's not like the pottery class, which I used because that was one of my clients' guidances, is about the end result of the pottery. It's about the experience of what happens to you while you're in that process, in that experience. What is happening with you? We're learning to open these inner channels. We're learning to quiet down our mind. We're learning to open our hearts. We're learning to be less reactive and judgmental and saying, if you don't think my way, you're all wrong, you people, and I got to correct you. We're learning. We're pioneers. We're in new territory. We're discovering new things about ourselves. And so it's important when you're working with the spirit world to say, move me in the direction of my highest good now, where I can learn. And then say yes to the suggestions to learn. In fact, put it in the comments. We're all students right now as we move from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. What are you learning? Or what is certainly being suggested that you learn? For example, I have a client, and a very conservative client, who sneaks to talk to me because she says it doesn't quite fit with the way I was trained religiously, but it still helps me a lot. And she said, I just found out my daughter's gay. And my reaction, my conditioning, and my training is to be really upset because my instinct is to say that's wrong. But my spirit says, okay, I just hope you're happy, and I don't understand it, but I certainly love you, so I'll accept it. She said, I have these two different channels. I said, one is third dimension, judgment, indictment, making someone wrong, being right, versus fifth dimension, unconditional love and acceptance. Just letting live and let live. Let everybody be who they are, and don't judge it as good or bad. God created us the way we are, so be open and trust. I trust that you could say that might scare me, but I trust that if that works for you, your spirit knows what you're doing. So there's a lot of ways in which we can grow right now. And rather than react to the third dimension consciousness that's scary and menacing, the best way to navigate it is to ask your spirit guides and teachers to help you as you answer the question, what am I learning, and am I committed to learning it? Because the more you're committed to learning how to be a fifth dimension being, the more you're learning how to not be judgmental, not be reactive, not play small, not be a victim, how you're learning to talk to your guides and trust your intuition and not call it weird and not argue with it. If you're learning these things, you are going to navigate this disruptive period with a lot of ease and grace. The more you say, what am I learning? And am I learning it? Am I committed to learning it? What have I learned? Where have I shifted? Where have I softened? Where have I settled down? All of this is the way forward through these difficult times. If we are learning, we're invested in learning, we're committed to learning, then we are safe. We are going to be enlightened, and we're going to have a lot of joyful, positive, miraculous connections, and all the disruption will very quickly be in the rear view mirror. So please put in the comments, what am I being invited to learn? And tell me what you're being invited to learn. Am I willing? Am I committed? Am I resisting? And why? Why am I resisting? If I learn something, my life will be better. If I resist, I just drag myself and quite possibly the people around me down, in which case that makes for a very unhappy experience. So that's my message for today. If you're new to my channel, I'm so happy you're here. You are really called here because you're growing. And growth is difficult. Growth is messy. Growth is uncertain, and we need to grow with kindred spirits. It's one of the best reasons we have this channel is we have support. We have mirroring. We have connection. We have divine support. We have our spirit guides come and help us here. So if you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. Better yet, subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. We're all learning this together. What appears to be a dreadful state of the world is also a catalyst to learn about the better dimensions of who we are and motivate us to becoming better, more expanded, joyful human beings. So let that happen. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. All my love.